I want to talk today about the wound of specialness and me meeting my God consciousness, which is kind of a really cool thing to think about. So, the wound of specialness is, I've been told this actually by someone not that long ago that I hired, who said, you are pretty well in alignment with your purpose and the energy of why you're here, but there's this little tweak that needs to take place. And she said that little tweak is that you are afraid of appearing special, that you dim your own light so that other people around you will not feel inferior, who won't feel intimidated, right? You turn your light down and so that you don't have that big specialness, right? Because we are conditioned to believe that specialness is achieved by doing something, saying something, being worthy of it, right? And it never really clicked for me at that moment. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I could see how I'm dimming my light and I'm not really out there owning it and being like, I'm special. Look at what I can do. Look who I am. And I thought, well, who am I to do that, right? I have these great things, but there are people out there who have far greater abilities than I do, that are on bigger platforms than I am, that have bigger audiences. And so, am I really that special, right? So it's okay that I feel this way. I was justifying it. And this morning, something clicked for me. And I was sitting there thinking, I know when this happened. I know when this came in. I'm a manifester. I have big energy. And from a very young age, I had people in my life, very close people in my family life, who were intimidated by my energy. They were jealous and lacking within themselves. And so I remember at a very young age being told that I wasn't special, that I didn't deserve this special treatment, that I had to do something or achieve something or say something, and it had to be something big, right? It couldn't be something small to be considered special or to be considered worthy of the treatment that I was receiving from my own father. And it clicked for me. And I was like, wow. From that moment on, I went from just being me and shining my light and feeling that innate divine worthiness within me, to being squashed and being told to dim my light. It's not fair that I get special treatment. You can hear my throat chakra. That I don't get special treatment, that I should not be treated that way, or that I'm not deserving of that attention or that item or that experience because I had not done something to earn it. And they're set into stone, and not into stone, but into my programming, that I had to do something big and grand. I had to do something that was deemed worthy to have that special treatment. And I've watched, I actually saw a replay going on of all the things that I've done to my own children, that I have done to people in my life, where I felt that judgment and that resentment of, why do they get to be deemed special or have that special treatment? Here I am living in alignment with my life, right? Here I am doing all the things I'm being told to do, and I don't feel that. Why do you get to feel that? And you want to know why I was feeling that? You want to know why I was having that judgment? You want to know why I was feeling that resentment? It's because it was a mirror. It was showing me that this is how I was judging myself, that I was still not seeing myself as worthy or special. Because here's the truth. We all are special. We all are worthy. We all get to shine our lights just as bright. And it doesn't matter if it is one small loving action from our heart, where we give somebody a helping hand up, or $5, or a smile, or a hug. The ripple of that one thing, I can feel the God consciousness coming in, and the infinite love flowing through me right now as I say this, and it's really big energy. So I hope that you guys can experience this energy as well. It creates the same ripple as if you were standing on a stage in front of millions and sharing something magnificent. It doesn't fucking matter. And as I was seeing this play go on in my head, this vision and the energies of what they were showing me that was within me, I hadn't meditated yet. And I said, my process is I do my source tones and I clear my mind. I come into that blank space. And then I do the work on my healing method and my own energy, because it's about me embodying it. I said, this is going to change. I am going to remember my truth. I'm going to remember this. And I do not want any more distractions. I do not want any more. I choose not to buy into this programming, because guess what? We all get to fucking choose. We are the commanders. We get to say if that is our truth or not. And then we get to do the work to clear that programming and transform it back into our truth. We hold the key. And so I said, I'm going to put my healing method to work. And so I went after my came into that blank space, I started feeling into my bodies, my energetic bodies. So feeling into the 12 energetic bodies that surround me. And I'm going to give you a lot of behind the scenes in the developing of my healing method. And it doesn't matter that I tell you, because nobody else will be able to do it the way I do it. So we actually don't own anything, right? Feeling that energy around me. Feeling my own energy, coming back into that Zen 0 point neutrality, feeling into my energy, my body. And I began asking, where does this live? Where do these lies and these old programmings live within me, that I have to obtain or be worthy of something, that I have to do some grand big ass action on a stage, or write all these books, or do all these things to be deemed special? Where is this programming that we aren't just special being and shining our lights and doing the smallest, simplest things, being who we were brought here to be? And I could feel it. First, it started in my throat chakra. I could feel the energy in my throat. Makes sense, right? This is where we manifest from. This is where we speak our truth. This is where we bring what's going on within us and we manifest it. We move that energy. Manifesting is just moving of the energy. Move it out into our physical reality so that we can see it. Again, important why we build our foundation within us. This is, again, why we do the inner work. Because we are manifesting, we are moving the energy. We're creating that energy from within us out into the outside world, or our reality. So I could feel it in there, but then I could also feel my hands activate. I could feel it in my hands. Again, we take action, right? This is our hands. The energy of your hands activating is action. It's the moving of the energy. I could feel it in spots outside of me, and I don't mean outside of me physically, but in my aura, in my energetic bodies. And so I used, there's about 3 to 4 rays depending on the healing that I'm doing, that I use. And for this one, I was wrapped in the soft pink ray of grace. And if you guys are in Reset and Reclaim, or you're part of the $11 monthly thing, you are going to get familiar with this ray, because I'm starting to use it a lot more. I'm bringing this aspect into my group healings that are for this particular method. And what this ray's power is that they're showing me, and how they've been instructing me to use it. Grace means hold space. So what it's doing is it's absorbing the old programming. It's absorbing the toxins, the heavy, dense emotions, the karmic memory, the things that are deep within our cellular structuring. And I could feel it. So I get wrapped in this ray. And my throat chakra was actually wrapped also simultaneously. And I was feeling the energy being absorbed out of me. I could lightly feel it being pulled. And I don't mean just, oh yes, I'm wrapped, I'm pulling. This goes deep. I mean, I could feel it coming out of my bones. I could feel it. I could feel my blood and the waters in my body moving. I could feel it. I could feel it going through my organs. Interestingly enough, my lungs had a lot of penetration from this, a lot of clearing, which makes sense because the lungs are associated with forgiveness. And forgiving the aspect of me, forgiving that the things that I have done in my life out of resentment, out of guilt, or not even guilt, out of resentment, out of jealousy, out of fear, out of judgment. My mind, I could feel it clearing and pulling from my mind, and my mind opening up. I could feel going through my nose and a deafening in my ears. I could feel it pulling from all parts and pieces of me, all aspects. And it's absorbed into this ray, and this ray is lifted off of you and taken in for transmutation to transform it back into love, back, because that's all we can do with the energy. We can't ever destroy it, right? Energy can only change form. So then I was brought in and wrapped in the aquamarine ray of rebirth and regeneration. And this began, as it was wrapped, it's like they tap in to my well of all knowing, into my truth, into my divinity, into my remembrance, right? Like the well of the Akashic, if you will, right? There's many ways we could say this. And they pull the truth like a syringe. They pull the truth about this programming, this particular programming, out of my divinity, out of my divine waters. And they inject it, they infuse it, activate it within this ray. And they wrap me in it. And I could feel this clearing through. While I talk about the 12 energetic bodies, I have some basic knowledge and remembrance of the 12 bodies, but for the most part, I am super familiar with the 4 closest to me. So my physical body, my astral body, my mental body, my causal body. The causal body is the karmic memory. This is the lifetimes. This is the bloodlines. This is the programming that we carried forth. And interestingly enough, Archangel Raphael says you don't have to live that shit. You don't have to live through that remembrance. You can clear it without remembering or living it. Having it, I could feel it moving through my mental body and my emotionals. Then I could feel it entering in through my skin and through my bones, and literally reprogramming, clearing through every aspect of me, through my organs, through my blood, through the waters, through my brain, through my heart, everything, the structure, my whole entire body. I could feel this energy, this cold energy moving through my body. And I was literally chilled to the bone as I could feel this emptying out of my body and reprogramming, right? Because my energy contracted back in to do the deep programming. When we're clearing, we're actually opening ourselves up to release. So we almost get a warmth and an expansion happening. But when we're reprogramming, we're going within, we're cool, and we're cooling our body, and we're etching it in so that we never forget it. And then I was wrapped, there was some other pieces that are in there that I'm not going to mention, except for one. When I was working on my throat chakra, or they were working on my throat chakra, I was guided to do some source toning. And I'm just saying this because this is the funny thing about it. But I come out later on of doing all this work, and my daughter's like, she was sitting on the couch, and I was in my space, in my room, meditating when I was doing all this. She's like, when you were doing those noises, Mom, all the electronics in the house were flickering. So I went through a phase of toning that I was guided certain tones to help clear and really anchor out, or anchor in the truth into my throat chakra. And that came through a vibration, a frequency. So anyway, I thought that was funny because she was like, whatever you were summoning. I'm like, I wasn't summoning anything. This is just something I was guided to do. So anyway, they wrapped me in the ray that seals it all up, and I went through my processes. And I get placed in the transmutation pool of regeneration and accelerated integration. And going through the normal processes of this healing method, except this time something was different. When you go through this process of the healing method, you are sinking, right? You're asked to let go of all that you've ever known. Because that's how you come back to the remembrance, is by forgetting everything you've been taught and coming back to the truth. And so as I let go of everything I've ever known, I feel myself sinking, and I rise back up and I'm floating. This face appears. And at first I was caught off guard a little bit. And it's not a face that I'd ever seen. And it wasn't mine. It wasn't my face, right? It didn't look like me. And I said, who are you? And they said, I am God. And it was quiet. And then it said, I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. Because this is why I write everything down the minute I come out. It's part of my book. Where did it go? Okay, so I am God. And then it said, I am the God consciousness within you. And it began a very dark, not dark, but an empty space. So there was no sound. Everything went silent. Everything disappeared. Everything was gone. It was just nothingness. And after they said, I am the God, it says, I am the God consciousness within you, meaning the God aspect of us, right? I always talk about this. You are God. We are all aspects of God. But have you ever met and tuned into the God consciousness within you? And I think you have to come to this space of where you're letting go of all that you've ever known and coming back to that point, that neutrality, that wide open space of nothingness. Because we know nothing, but we have access to everything. That's the amazing part of this. We have the knowledge all within us. That's the point. And it was really quiet. I mean, nothing, like deaf. I couldn't see anything. I just had this most peaceful feeling. And then I started to hear sound come in, and it was that song, Somebody I Used to Know, started playing. And I kind of chuckled because, hello, somebody I used to know. It's about remembering. And I was so tickled about this. And it was so exciting for me because it really was a very divine remembrance. Like I just knew everything and nothing all at once. And it opened up. And when I came out of this and thanked everybody and started recording all that had transpired, I felt completely different. I felt like the most amazing weight had been lifted off of me. I felt that I just felt different because it's in the recognition of these awarenesses of these things that hold us back, or we deem them holding us back, right? These conditioned beliefs that keep us stuck, standing still or looping or going down the rabbit hole, seeking, when all we needed was to remember the truth and let go of the attachment to what we knew. I couldn't have had this without a revelation that I had last night, but that's a whole nother live. And that will actually be coming in a YouTube video that'll be posted soon. But the reason why I share this is because it's through this amazing method that I'm developing and the structures that I have built it upon that's going to help change the world. And you all have the same gift within you. Every single etching, every single action, word you speak, hug you give, smile you give, every little thing you do that is done with your heart is etched into this riverbank. Every small action creates this riverbank that allows your prosperous energy to flow fluidly. That's it. Every small action. It isn't one big grand thing. We're not all trying to obtain this one space where the rivers of money and love and freedom unleash. It's through learning that the part of the journey is each action that we take from our heart, from knowing that we are secure within our being, that we are whole, that we are fucking amazing just by being, that creates these riverbanks that help build the structures that we are building of our truth that allow our energy to flow prosperly. Is that even a word? I don't know. Everything. You don't need to do anything. And for those who are judging still, for those who are still in the energy of, I have to do something to be special, or who are you to do that, to be deemed that? What makes you worthy of that special treatment or to have that? What did you do to have all that money, to get on that stage, to write that book, to be who you are, to feel that free? What did you do to deserve that? We come into the realization of we don't need to fix them, because what they are doing is a part of our evolutionary journey. It's actually catalyzing somebody else's mirror to transform themselves. They're pushing a button within us that catalyzes a change to happen. This is why we need people to be assholes. This is why we need people to do things that we deem bad or not serving, because everything catalyzes something in our evolution and in our journey, in our life, giving us the opportunity to choose differently. Everything. And when we see that, we're like, wow, I get it now. I have the power. And I'm living, breathing proof of that, because I have gone from having nothing twice. I've gone through the dark night of the soul twice. I have gone to the edge of suicide and came out alive and bright and realizing that I fucking matter. I'm here for a purpose. And if that purpose is giving somebody a hug, sharing this live with you, or getting on a stage with millions, it's all equal. It's all equal. That ripple matters. It doesn't matter how big the rock is. It doesn't change the ripple. It can still reach as far as it needs to. Isn't that amazing? So that's my behind the scenes of my process. And again, this is coming soon for people to, I'm going to be doing trials on people where we start purifying your energetic fields and your structures, because this isn't about just changing your mindset. This isn't just about opening your heart. This shit is ingrained in our bones. Our bones are our structures, and this is where the stories are programmed. It's programmed in our structures. It's programmed in our molecular, in our blood, in the waters that run in our body. It's programmed into our organs. And so it has to happen on all levels. It has to have that deep revelation and that clearing. But you have to know how to build your structure once you go through it. Otherwise, you just anchor back into the same shit. And then you're reprogramming with things that aren't serving you again. So having those foundational pieces are super important wherever you get them, however you get them.